Hey kids, just wanted to drop in and say happy Thanksgiving. You may notice we posted this on a Wednesday instead of our normal Thursday. It's because even the cool kids take a break on the holidays. But we just wanted to let you know we're all very thankful here at the Cool Kids Lunch Table for you listening and commenting and interacting with our social media content. We have a lot of great stuff coming for you through the end of this year for the holiday season, and we're going to be kicking off 2024 with a bang. So thanks again for sticking with us, and we appreciate you listening. And we'll see you at the lunch table.
Hey kids, I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today we have a special episode. We're coming from headquarters, PJ's comic store, Cool Kids Comics and Toys. And today we'll be talking about cosplay. And to help us out, we have our good friend and possibly maybe an old classmate somehow, spiritually, Simon Velu. He's known for being a New York photographer and influencer from Instagram. So welcome, Simon.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Nice being here.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, man. So we're really excited. We always start with our episodes with a childhood memory. So, Simon, you'll start us off. What's your first experience with the camera,
So probably have to go back. I'm revealing my age a little, but probably have to go back to 2009 when an ex-girlfriend bought me a Nikon D50 actually, which is one of the first bodies. I didn't know I loved it then. I just kind of wanted a new hobby, and yeah, fell in love with it. Took a little while, but fell in love with it eventually.
Okay, all right. Very first camera experience, very sophisticated. PJ, what about you? What's your first camera experience?
I mean, I think as a kid, everyone had like a Polaroid camera that you kind of played around with or whatever. But I wasn't really big into taking pictures. I'm still not. I don't like being in pictures.
Right.
As I say that as we're here video recording ourselves. But in college, I took a photography class, and that was the first time I really kind of started doing more with photography. Not that I'm a photographer by any stretch, but I had a professor. And she was great. I don't remember most of my college professors, but I remember her, Professor Refrano, Allie Refrano. And she was a fantastic photographer. And so I really paid attention in her class because I just appreciated the work she was doing. And she would give us all sorts of random assignments. And one of the assignments that I remember her giving us was, I can't remember the exact name, but there was some photography book. It was like a red couch or something like that it was called. And it was these people that took this red couch and put it in all sorts of random places.
Right.
And they made a photo book out of it. And one of the assignments that she gave us was to do our own version of the red couch. Take something that doesn't belong in a photo.
Right.
And build the photo around it. And I did it with like an action figure.
Oh.
I took like a superhero action figure. I went into the city and I tried my best to like make it look like the superhero action figure based on like perspective.
Force perspective,
right,
yep.
was the right size. And I wasn't that successful with it.
Right.
But that was my idea. But I do remember the one time I got, and the only A I got in that class was actually a picture of my dad.
Right.
And I don't even know if he knew I took it. He was painting the house. My mother had him like painting the ceilings or some shit.
Right.
And we had to take random like shots. Like it had to just be like from the hip. Like it wasn't supposed to be anything like planned. And I got this picture of my dad looking super aggravated and just miserable painting the ceiling. And I just got it at the right moment where he was like looking down from where I was. He was on a ladder.
Right.
And he just looked the most angry at that point. And we had to develop the photos, do the whole thing. And then they put them on slides, and they would put the slides up on like, the projector. And it came out, the picture, mine came up. And I remember I got just great comments on it because what Professor Refrano saw, she goes, she remembered her father and her parents looking aggravated being in all these pictures.
Right.
She was learning how to do photography, and she was using them as her subject.
Yep.
And how annoying it can be. And I got an A because I captured how annoyed my father looked in that picture. And that was the first time I realized like people can look at a photo and like connect to it, even if they don't know the subject or the people in it. So that was like the first time.
Oh, I love that. I think for me, it was like disposable cameras. You know what I mean? And I just remember like 1 hour photo was like a big deal.
Right.
I was hanging out with PJ yesterday. We were talking about, I used to work at Kmart. But I didn't work in 1 hour photo. But 1 hour photo was like a big deal back in the day. It was like 1 hour photo, get your photos back in an hour, And I remember people used to get like bugging out customers because like by accident used to give them the wrong set. And we used to always say, check the photos before you leave. Of course, no one ever did that. So they would come out flipping out. Just, God forbid, we give them the wrong one. But I always remember disposable cameras, especially like makes that noise when it was like no more film,
Yeah.
like zit, 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 zit. I remember kids used to take it apart so you get like electrocuted, you know. And my other camera experience is the Tyco video cam. I know we're talking about regular cameras right now, but a video camera. So it was only in black and white. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe like $50. I don't even know how much it was. But you didn't focus. It's basically almost like a security cam that you hook up to your VCR.
Right.
And my brother and I made so many like videos, parody videos of like Living Color. But I guess my biggest claim to fame, actually two of them, I can't find it. I'm going to try to find it. Is me and PJ did the 311 milk challenge.
Yep.
That's when the band 311 had this challenge that if you drink a gallon of milk in an hour, whoever drank a gallon of milk in an hour first would win $300 and $11. We tried doing that with like two other guys. It was disastrous.
None of us won.
Yeah, exactly. There were no winners.
The milk carton one.
Yeah. And
yeah, for real, the milk carton won, all right.
yeah. And the other thing I did with that camera is I made a documentary with my family and my friends. It was called Brutally Honest, and actually interviewed my parents, my siblings, my friends, and it's a really nice keepsake that I have. And my rabbit was on there. God rest his soul. So, but moving along to our subject, we're gonna just get some more info from Simon, what it is to be a photographer and all that kind of jazz. So, Simon, you kind of tell us what's like your main like niche. Is it like documentary? Is it, I don't know what they call it, yearbook style? I don't know.
Yeah, portraits.
yeah, exactly. Portraits.
Glamour shots?
Glamour shots.
Glamour shots.
Yeah. What's your special?
So I started off taking pictures of New York City because I just love the city.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason my ex got me the camera is because I used to just love the skyline, taking pictures. You can never get tired. Even now, decades, well, not decades later, but 15 years later from owning a camera, I go into the city and still gives me that same feeling. I still get as inspired watching the skyline. But I started off with cityscape and landscape, nature stuff, and eventually you kind of learn that it runs its course, and you kind of have to evolve as a photographer.
Right.
So I started photographing people, which I'm extremely shy by nature.
Right.
So it took me many years to get comfortable photographing a subject, photographing a woman, photographing a model. Even that was a whole different level. But it took me some years, and finally I think I'm more of a portrait photographer than I am a cityscape or street photographer.
Yeah.
I enjoy everything equally.
Sure.
But I'm definitely gotten better with portraits over the last couple of years.
I think a lot of people start, at least where we live, because we're on Long Island, I think a lot of people start photography by going into the city and taking pictures of Manhattan. Yep. We had a friend we went to high school with who was big into photography, and he always said his favorite subject was shooting Manhattan. So I think a lot of people get into photography, but we live in that way, is going to the city and taking a picture of the skyline, the buildings,
There's so much personality there with the buildings and the architecture, and every shot is a story. Just a street corner, a stop sign, is so much character in there.
There's something on almost every block. Yep. You'll catch a storytelling photo on every block.
Now I've seen on your Instagram, you've taken like photos and I think even some video of like boxing events.
Yes.
Now I like boxing. I know MMA is everyone's big thing and everyone likes to watch like UFC and all that shit, but I always liked boxing better. I can remember like even as a kid staying up late at night and watching like boxing on HBO.
Yeah.
The Friday night fights, and I'd watch it with my brother. And I don't ever think about how they film these things, but how is it to like film a boxing event? Like, do you film or take photos of the actual fights?
Depends on who's fighting. I went to an event over in the Paramount over in Huntington, and one of the announcers, the ring announcers, just randomly asked me to take a picture of him. So I took a shot. He liked the shot that I took of him, and he asked me to come back for more content, in future events. So I've been working with him and done a mixture of photos and video, depending on what he's requesting, because he's constantly trying to put his media portfolio together also. So sometimes he'll ask for just photos, sometimes it's just video. A lot of the times it's just shooting the boxers literally from less than 5 feet away.
While they're in the match.
Yeah, I've had sweat, blood, tears.
Right. So do you take pictures like right before, like, they touch gloves? Do you take pictures of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have the camera right in their face, basically? Like, how is
no,
it?
No, I can't get too close.
Okay.
You don't get in the ring.
I don't get in the ring.
Okay.
No. And actually, once the bell goes off, or even right before the bell goes off, they want no one standing near the ropes. So you have to be floor level shooting up at the boxers. So that's as close as I can get. Usually is.
And I think that angle makes the boxers look larger than life because
Oh,
it makes
yeah.
them look bigger because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
shooting up, right?
Yeah, it's definitely more dramatic.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
yeah, it's almost like you're part of a movie scene,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're watching these two giants go at it. You know, it's
Yeah.
very similar to that feeling.
And I'm just curious, like, I'm assuming after the match you take their photos too. You know, are you in the ring at that point when they raise their hand? Oh, you know that. You know, like,
The last
and
event
this
he
corner,
actually-
Mr. PJ. Right.
The last event, he actually asked me to come into the ring,
Right.
so I was standing pretty close to the boxers.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean,
while he was interviewing them also.
Right. And I'm just curious too. Like, I can only imagine like when someone doesn't raise your arm in defeat. Like, how is that? Like, how does that feel from your end taking that picture? Like that feel
They're
like taking that
actually
picture at
the
that moment. That person's. You know, especially if it's a tight match, you know what I
Right.
mean, a close match. You know,
The
they go like,
sportsmanship-
get out of my face with that thing. You know, obviously not a paparazzi, but I mean, like, still, that's a. Woo.
It's actually the announcer that feels it the most because he's standing elbow to elbow with them.
Yeah, they're in the crossfire.
And sometimes they don't want to be interviewed; they just want to go in the locker room
Of
and
course.
break a wall. You know,
Yep,
so
of course.
so you can sense it, but the sportsmanship is excellent. They're all very
Right.
professional.
Yeah.
You know, they don't let their emotions carry outside the.
And what
the
league
bells.
do you? What box? They call it a league, right? What's the name of the league that you?
So it's Star Boxing. It's a Long Island-based boxing company, or a event company. So they've been putting it together. They've hosted in the Paramount, Mulcahy's. They've done a couple in New Jersey, I think, also. So they're trying to spread.
Yeah, I've
further
seen
out.
it. The 5-star boxing at the Paramount. That's in Huntington. For those who
Yeah,
are listening,
yeah.
it's a great venue to see concerts. It's awesome, and to see a boxing match. It's, you don't realize. Especially if you, I never went to. I mean, went to wrestling.
Right, we
You know
went to
what I mean?
wrestling all the time,
Right,
yeah.
but when you see like boxing, or I can only imagine UFC, when you hear someone going like,
Yeah.
and that's someone's face, like it's like
It's different.
Yeah, and you see like a spray of blood all of a sudden, like it's
'Cause
almost
when
like
you,
a sprinkler.
When you watch
Like
wrestling and you hear that noise, it's kind of like it's real, but it's not real.
yeah.
But when you're watching a boxing or UFC and you hear that thud, that's really someone's face getting
Right. And they're getting
broken.
clocked. And, they're getting clocked a couple of times,
Yeah.
and they're still standing. If I would have got hit by any of those, I'd be like, okay, ding ding. Let me get to the corner, get that little stool out, please.
Well, they have a new
You
thing
know?
now. Not to get too far off the topic of photography, but
Yep.
since we're talking a little bit about boxing, they have the slap fighting leagues now.
Yes.
And that shit's amazing. If they did that, take photos of that because I want to see these people's faces with like a handprint right on the side of their face. That shit's wild. Now, you also do photos with like drone photography and videography, right? That's a different beast altogether.
It is.
You have to fly the drone, right?
You have to fly the drone, obviously, learn how to maneuver the camera while flying the drone in a certain direction. So there are different ways to get creative with it. Obviously, the camera is just a whole different thing in itself. So learning to combine the two together can really create some really fun
I would
images.
think if you're not really good at flying the drone, the video would just make people seasick. Like it wouldn't be smooth. Or do they have like a rig on there to keep it smooth even if that thing is rocky?
Like a steady cam type.
I think
thing.
anyone who flies a drone knows they have to watch the wind and how the wind speeds. If it's under 10 miles per hour, you could probably get a pretty stable clip,
Right.
regardless of your experience.
Okay.
Right. And I guess my question with the drone is, like, did you always have like a liking to like model airplanes, things like that, so it came more natural, or is
So it's funny. My dad actually was worked in the airlines.
oh
And when I was a kid, I was fascinated by planes. I used to love watching them. We used to live right close to an airport. So probably every 10, 15 minutes, there'll be a plane landing or
Right.
taking off. And I used to run to the window every single time it was such an exciting thing for me. So I think there's always been like this part of me that's kind of want to know what life is like from the air.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have that, that curiosity. So yeah, once I got the drone, I was just like in heaven, literally.
Because that's like two
And
different things
figuratively.
going on. You're simultaneously piloting,
Right.
Yeah.
and then you're also
Trying to get a good shot.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of trial and error.
I
A
can
lot
imagine.
of bad videos and bad
do you
pictures.
have a favorite drone shot? Like, is there a favorite?
So I went to Pennsylvania with my family, and I actually created my nephew, who was 16 at the time. He loved fishing. So every morning, I think we were there for about 4 days. Every morning, we'd wake up before sunrise, and there'd be this beautiful fog on the lake. And he'd go out in the boat and just do his thing, and I'd kind of just revolve around him and you
Yeah.
know do different shots. And I put together a 5-minute like a mini film, like a family
Yeah,
film,
yeah, yeah.
that I just have been like in love with
Oh,
since.
cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I also to see him growing up and not being that 16-year-old anymore makes it even more special.
Oh,
you
sure.
know?
No, that is awesome.
And now to kind of help us transition into the main topic, but I think you took maybe one photo shoot or two of cosplayers. It was like a Clueless inspired
Oh,
photo.
yes,
I love the movie
yes.
Clueless. That's what Alicia Silverstone. I used to be in love with her. Stacey Dash. I used to love Dion. For the girls, I'm sure they love Paul Rudd. The guy from Scrubs is in it.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Donald something, right?
The fact that Paul Rudd today looks exactly,
exactly
the
the
same as he did when he
same.
was in Clueless is phenomenal. That guy doesn't age.
But I love that film, and I'm a little jealous, Simon, that you got to take some photos of some pretty
well, if they
girls.
made a sequel
and-
of Clueless 2, I can get you on the set.
Okay, yeah. So how was that experience? How did they contact you? Someone say, "Hey, we need portraits, but hey, we're actually the theme is this." Like, what was it? Was it
So I met a model that her name is Fontaine. She was big on recreating a lot of the things that she was a fan of growing up.
Right.
One of those things was Clueless, and I don't know how she why she selected me, but she kind of just made me the main photographer for the set. She got 3 other models, and ironically, one of the models I had never seen the movie before, so I had no
What?
idea what it was about, what to
Didn't you
expect.
grow up in the '90s?
I did,
And
but
you
I
didn't
never
watch
saw the
Clueless?
I never saw Girl.
Oh my!
Chick
You must be
flicks.
clueless.
I was clueless until I saw Clueless. Actually, yeah.
Oh my God! Did you like the movie real quick?
It was actually a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that
enjoyed it.
movie.
I watched
movie.
it.
That movie's like
Very fun.
timeless. To me, it's
Yeah.
like in that same thing as like Mean Girls
Yep.
and
Yeah.
like Ferris Bueller. Like such a so good.
And I think as a guy, also in being sheltered as a boy,
Right.
growing up at that age, not having a lot of female friends, it was like a peek into their world.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of see, like.
As if, right?
Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to recreate what they were passionate about. but
Yeah.
do it with my little spin on it.
Of course, yeah. I'm just thinking about it now. Thinking about the cast. Brittany Murphy's in that. That was like one of her
Yeah.
first roles.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
Yeah.
She's passed away, but
That's an interesting choice for someone to cosplay as.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally when you think of it, you think of like superheroes or anime characters.
yeah,
I mean, part of me, I'd never seen those photos, but part of me thinks it would just look like a bunch of people wearing old clothes,
right.
like outdated fashion.
They
Right.
did a really amazing job of selling it.
Yeah.
They from the moment they showed up, they were already dressed the part. So they probably took the train dressed as
Right.
they
Cher, right? Her character's
yeah,
name,
Cher.
and Dion. Yep.
Yeah.
mhm.
So the girls really took it seriously. They were dressed amazingly. They even shot amazingly. Everything that they had in mind, they were. They already had like a vision for it, so it helped
Right.
me,
Of course.
photograph it even
Yeah,
easier.
execute it, yeah.
They were the perfect cast for that photo shoot. Couldn't have pictured it any better.
Interesting.
Lovely. So, what I really wanted to talk about today, guys, was cosplay. So I guess my question. Let me ask PJ first.
Right.
PJ, how would you define cosplay?
A lot of boobs. So no,
Okay.
obviously I go to almost every I go to New York Comic Con every year. I've gone to San Diego Comic Con. I'm always in that world, and you always see them. There's these booths, like different comic book stores or different vendors there
Yeah.
will hire cosplayers to go and sit at their booth, and
That makes sense.
then so they're not modeling or anything like that, but they're just sitting there in these outfits. Maybe it's a Wonder Woman outfit or whatever, or
Right.
like I said, an anime. And because there's this, gorgeous woman with her boobs out, it draws attention to that vendor's booth.
Right.
And then you'll go there and you're more likely to spend some money at that person's booth because that girl's talking to you, right? That's the idea of it. So there's a lot of that when you see cosplayers. There's also like professional cosplayers. They have like the Eastern Coast Championship cosplay and all this other stuff. And people get paid big money and they put together these elaborate outfits. It's not always boobs. You'll see someone put
Oh,
together
yeah.
like almost like a working Iron Man costume in some
Yep.
in some respects. But when you go to Comic-Con, there's always photographers there.
Right.
And they have, I don't know what you call it, like the big screen and all that shit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like a
they
backdrop.
set it up. Yeah, the backdrop, right. They set there's areas at like the Javits or at the convention center in San Diego where these photographers just set up, and these cosplayers pay these photographers. Sometimes they bring their own photographer. Sometimes they, I guess, freelance someone who's already there, and they pay them to take pictures of these elaborate costumes that they've come up with. And it's a career for some of these people. They can make a tremendous amount of money modeling some of these costumes, and it tends to be a lot of either something very elaborate like an Iron Man. If it's like a guy, right?
Yeah.
You don't typically see like you don't typically see a lot of Superman in these because it's this guy in spandex, right? It's not. They could have a good build and look like Superman, but it's not an exciting thing to watch. The people that are paying for photographers tend to have these elaborate, armored Batman costumes, or like the Juggernaut or a Doctor Doom if it's a guy.
Or like prosthetics. I've seen like Jokers that are
Yes,
just like
exactly.
crazy, like Arkham Asylum
if
style.
you're a dude, you tend to do that. If you're not a dude and you're a girl, female, it's all there's a lot. I don't know how else to say it. They're not wearing a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of skin.
It's a lot of skin, and that like the Harley
Well,
Quinn.
right, all the characters though. I mean, it's in
That's what they
fairness,
look like.
most of the characters they're emulating are,
Yeah. Now
you know.
there are some people, and this is look. I'm not trying to get canceled here on our podcast. There are some people that are just like you're like, that was a choice that they thought they should wear that outfit in public today.
Right.
Like I don't wear a Superman cosplay when I go to because no one wants to see me in spandex. Like not everyone thinks that way. Some people just go and they're like very, very out there. They put themselves out there. But the people who tend to be the more successful cosplayers are the ones that can
really
wear nothing
and
get away with it.
Right. Well, that's just kind of a good segue because I want to ask Simon this quick question. Simon, do you know what cosplay is short for? It's actually
costume play.
Oh, he got it. Oh, nice.
I put some thought into it before coming on the show.
Costume play. So it's short for costume play, and I'll give you guys a little bit of history about it. Those listening at home. So from the research I've done, this cosplay basically kind of originated in Japan. That's where that's where the term kind of got coined and all that kind of jazz. Obviously, people have been dressing up in costumes since Halloween and forever, probably. But I guess where the term and where it kind of get more into the dressing like your characters started like in the probably late 70s, definitely 80s from what I've seen. So it makes sense because you had Star Wars 77, Star Trek before that, and then you had the beginning of basically conventions in the 80s. So it makes sense that you had all these folks coming in dressed up as something. Yeah, I just wanted. For me, when I didn't know what cosplay was. Maybe around like 2012, somewhere around there. I remember I used to work with this girl in a bakery, and she was like, "Oh yeah. I do cosplay on the side." And I honestly, I thought it was some kind of like sexual thing. Like I'm like, all right. But no, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, well, basically people, dress up, in any kind of character. It could be film, it could be comics, it could be video games, and they just try to, nail it to the best that they can.
Which girl? I worked at that bakery. Which girl?
Her name is I don't know if she still does it. Gina B Cosplay. That was her.
I don't remember
her Facebook and
Gina,
everything. She was like one of the first. I'll say, I'll say she's one of the first girls who went viral for doing the Thelma, like from Scooby Doo, but rather more provocative and everything. But and the way that you say cosplay in Japanese is, oh boy, here we go. Koposhore. I'm definitely not doing my good Japanese here, but it's like kazu. Oh wait, that's it. Kazupur, like poor. Like it's really hard to pronounce. Yeah. So it's Kosupure.
It's very big in Japan. There's a
Yeah,
lot of that.
I mean, what do they call the girls? Like the kabuki dolls or something like that?
yeah.
Or like the, what's her name? Gwen Stefani kind of ripped that off too with her whole style when she kind of went solo. But guys, what I really wanted to talk about is like, what is it? Like, I mean, I know we know what it is, right? And then look, it exploded when the Marvel exploded, the movies exploded. Because before that, no. Look, PJ.
Well,
PJ, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
When you went to Comic-Cons in the 80s, 90s, all that stuff. Maybe not in the 80s yet, but maybe in the 90s, maybe early 2000s before the explode of comic book
they
movies.
were there. They were there.
They were there?
Yeah. There's always like a lot of Vampirella and all that kind of stuff.
Right. But what was the age of these women, though, honestly?
I mean, trying to think back. I mean, now they range from like children to elderly.
But back then.
I would say back then, you probably had like mid-20s, early 30s. Like,
okay.
Prime,
all right.
For
me,
age.
I guess I feel like, look, I wasn't there. You know better than me, clearly. But I just feel like now it's very much of a young person's game, and you're going to get in early 20s.
It was a little different back then. It was always there.
Right.
But again, it was always more women than men back then.
Right.
And it felt very porny. I don't know how else to put it. It was very porny. Where the whole point where they were there was to bring you in and get you to buy something. They were
Right.
there just to be hot so that you wanted to go talk to them. And they would be very flirtatious because if they were trying to get you to buy their photos, trying to get you to buy the
Right,
the
and to bring attention to the
merchandise
booth, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's
No,
fine.
it
I went
was
to
fine.
I remember I went to the car show at Jacob Javits Center, and you know, you would have like, you know, the new like Camaro was coming out or some other thing, and you have these girls who are just, you know, dressed in like a race car outfit. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
all like nice and like latex or something like that with the racing stripes. And I was like, okay, let me sit in this car. I
Yeah,
can't afford this
it
car.
was always
but
a lot of, like I said, a lot of like Red Sonja kind of stuff, or Vampirella looking kind of stuff, or it was always or like barbed wire. I don't know if you remember barbed wire.
oh yeah, with Pamela Anderson.
yeah, like stuff like that. It was always that kind of
Yeah.
a look. Now it is more of a wider variety of what you may see.
Right.
Because it's superheroes, it's movie characters, it's anime characters. It's not just horn dog kind of pictures. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It is different. But it was there back in the old days too. It was there.
Okay.
It's just not the same. It's evolved from then, I would say.
Right.
Become a culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess it's. I mean, Simon, like, you work with those folks, the clueless folks. You know, is it like I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. It's like I see these girls on Instagram or guys too. Like, oh, I'm a cosplayer, right?
Right.
So basically, you're just a model, right?
Yeah,
Who just does video games,
essentially.
but they can also just like they're not stuck in that grid. I guess they're trying to find that niche market where they can get an OnlyFans. I know they do that. Guys do it
Yep.
too. You know. I guess my question to you, Simon, is like. For those girls, what was like their thing? Like, was that their pursuit to become professional cosplayers, or was it just like just a one-time thing? I'm just trying to get the zeitgeist of these folks who were doing
With
this
their
stuff.
influence was more. They want to replicate a lot of the chick flicks from like the 90s and
Right.
early 2000s. They're actually models, so they model full time.
Okay, so they're not just cosplayers.
They're not
They
just
just wake up one day
cosplayers.
like, I'm really good. I'm very artistic. I can sew well, and I can make some money being a costume
There
player.
are a couple-
I'm a model for a living, and I'm doing this
Right.
other thing to make even more money.
I do know a couple of those, and they are strictly they've actually their identity has become strictly cosplay.
Yeah.
I actually know someone who I think she had fake teeth put in.
Wow. About to be a vampire?
No, to be a cat.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, she
Okay.
she
Meow.
she has
Okay.
fake
Sometimes you want to
teeth.
be a cat.
She's had a couple of things done to her body to alter her.
Okay, so I don't think she might be
appearance.
beyond a cosplayer. This might,
Yeah, she might have.
She reminds me of like
obsession
that might
going
make you
on.
fun of. She reminds me of like that, was it Lizard Man?
Like the Coney Island Freak Show. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're allowed to call it that anymore, but
Yeah.
that's what it used to be called.
the
Yeah.
people who like
Yeah.
turn themselves into they put horns
Yeah.
on their foreheads.
Right,
So she's
right.
not. She's
Yeah, she's gone to that level. There are people that obviously don't go that far. They keep it with just costume. They keep it for just a photo shoot, and then they just go back to their
Right.
regular identity. After the job is over. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cats. That seems to be the thing that I've shot the most is cats. Women dressed up as cats.
And not like Catwoman, like just like cats.
Little Kitty. Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty.
Yeah, Hello Kitty. Little Kitty.
okay. Ah.
They were little. Yeah, I mean Hello Kitty, Catwoman.
Right.
Pretty much.
Interesting.
Those are the
Feline
two I've
realm.
seen. Yeah.
I actually learned
One-
not too long ago that anime, like the animation style, all those characters. People say, well, they don't look Japanese, they don't look American. It's actually based off the features of a cat.
Yeah. That's why they like the big eyes and all that.
Yep, and they're like the like kind of like triangular jaw, you want to
Yeah.
call it, the jawline. So cool. I know I went to, I guess we talked about it in one of our past episodes. I did my local Comic-Con. I just saw different folks, and I just loved the creativity, the ingenuity of just building costumes and everything. So I'm just kind of curious, guys. And I want you guys to just kind of elaborate your minds, okay? So I'm gonna ask you guys first. Peach, I'll ask you first.
Okay.
Who would you cosplay as a male character first? Who would you
Okay.
be? Two. I want you to pick two.
Pick two.
We're gonna go around.
So,
Male characters,
all
okay?
right. I'm not a big. Obviously, like I said, I don't like taking pictures and doing all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I probably would never do it. But
Right.
the closest I've gotten in real life to doing any sort of cosplay
Right.
was when I went to the Galactic Star Cruiser in Disney.
Oh.
And they encouraged you to dress like you were in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
So I kind of had like an outfit inspired by like Han Solo smuggler kind of look.
Right.
So I would probably say a Star Wars character would probably be something I would do, either a Jedi with like the cloak and the whole nine, something like that.
Okay.
Would be one,
Mhm.
and then I know the second. I know who I would do, who I would want to be a cosplayer of,
Right.
like if I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason I won't is because I won't shave my beard.
Right.
The character doesn't have a beard, and I feel like if you're going to cosplay as a character,
Right.
commit, right?
Right. Yep.
But I would probably like Dick Tracy.
Oh.
Like with the yellow hat, the yellow coat, it's very recognizable. You can, I would do something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
Dick Tracy doesn't have a beard, and I feel like if you're going to be a cosplayer, and you're going to invest the time, money, and effort into building a costume,
Right.
you need to look the part. And if the hero doesn't have or the character doesn't have a beard, then
Yep.
you probably shouldn't pick that character. And I'm not shaving my beard for anybody. So
Right. Mm-hmm. And just let the folks at home, PJ has dressed up as Silent Bob.
yeah, I have.
Yeah. So you
I
look
have.
really good. Those Jay and Silent Bob
Yeah.
from like Clerks and all those films. PJ really nails the look.
Yeah, I actually have the jacket here in the store.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't even consider that. That was like Halloween stuff. I
Right.
guess it's technically.
It is
cosplay.
absolutely.
I guess you think about it.
It
Yeah,
is.
kinda
It is. I mean, what's the difference between a
Yeah.
Halloween costume and a
Yeah, I
cosplay?
guess
Like the
really
level
not
of you
much. I guess
doing,
when
you
you
know?
think of it
The
that
date,
way.
I guess. The date.
The date.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Simon, what about you, man? Any male characters you like to
so-
cosplay as?
I wouldn't wear full body spandex like Superman.
Right.
But I could totally do a Clark Kent with a Superman.
Well, like the
Yeah,
underneath.
With the,
yeah.
I could probably pull that off. And then the second one, I mean, if there was a way to make it happen, Invisible Man, I would just look at the magazine on the wall over there. That would be an
Right.
amazing costume if I could pull that off.
Okay. Nice.
I probably wouldn't get out of the costume.
Oh, cool,
forever.
cool.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think I could. I don't have the height, but I would love to be Predator. You know,
Okay.
I'd be like baby Predator, maybe like teenage Predator. Then consider. I think the Predator himself, he's like 7 feet tall, right?
He's pretty big.
I wanted to be Batman. You know, I just want to have that cape. You know, really like a real good one, made out of rubber and all that stuff. The Rocketeer, I would like to
That's
do.
a good one.
That
That's a
nice
real good
costume.
one.
And then actually, for those who maybe never saw me on our photos or anything, I'm actually bald. But ever since I started shaving my head, I actually paint my whole head for Halloween and everything. And I've been the devil. I've done the crow or a variation of the crow's character. But I would love to actually somehow glue prosthetics to my head and look like Darkness from Legend, Tim Curry's character, that
Yeah.
devil. I would love to have those kind of big horns, get some hooves on me and everything. So I would really love that. I would really I'll sink my teeth into that, being Tim Curry. So PJ, we talked about male characters. Now
Okay.
look and let me say more. There's some rules to cosplay that I looked up. Okay.
Oh, there were rules.
Yep. So cosplay basically means that you can be anything you want. You know, it's about expression. It's about
Right.
turning yourself on.
Yep.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. However, they have a golden rule that cosplay is not consent. So,
Yes.
So-
That is a real rule. They
Yep.
post that sign all over Comic-Con.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because there's these, like I said, there's these women wearing very little clothing, and people will take pictures of them, try and touch them, try and
Yep.
grab at them.
Exactly.
Just because they're dressed up as a character or whatever else, and
Right.
that became a big thing because people were getting like harassed and abused
Yeah.
because of how. So when you go to like Javits Center for Comic-Con, that
Right.
cosplay is not consent sign is hung up all over the building.
Yeah. And other instances that I looked up is also males deal with it too, whether it's like a sexual harassment or people
Right.
try to fight them, like someone dressed
Yeah.
up as like Bruce Lee or
Yep.
someone's trying to fight him.
Yeah.
You know, or and everything. But anyway, the reason why I segue into that is with cosplay, you can cosplay anybody, male or
Right.
female, doesn't matter what characters. Even you could be a Pokemon that's not even you could be non-human.
Right.
So PJ, what female characters would you want to be? Would you
Oh, wow.
cosplay as? You
I-
could do
have
like
to
a
shave
gender
your beard
bender.
for this one.
What was that?
You have to
I'm
shave
gonna
your beard
shave
for
my
this
beard
one.
now.
Yeah. Well, you could-
That's a good question.
And
because I've
PJ,
never thought
and
about it.
you can do like you can I wouldn't say dress in drag, but you can do that if you wanted to, whatever turns you on. But I'm saying for you, would you want to do like I've seen people do a Joker, but they do like a female
And then
version.
there's, like,
of
a
that.
male
right?
version of Harley
Exactly, not
Quinn.
like
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah,
I've
not
seen
a
that.
heart, right? But it's
Yeah.
you know, would you do like a
I had a
Darth?
friend who did that. His
Right.
girlfriend at the time went as a girl Joker, and he went as a male Harley Quinn. So what would I don't know. Let me think. Hold on. I'm looking around the store trying to get inspiration. My mind is going to like X-Men,
Yeah.
and I don't know what. maybe like a rogue.
Yeah.
And instead of having a white streak in my hair, maybe have like a white streak in my beard.
Oh,
Maybe something
there
like
we
that.
go.
That might be how I would pull off a rogue look.
Yeah.
And then, because she wears like the brown leather
Yeah,
jacket, so
yeah,
I could wear
yeah.
a brown leather jacket.
Yep.
And then have a white streak in my beard instead of in my hair. That's the first thing I think of.
Right.
Who would be a good? I don't know. I don't. Maybe it would be like. Maybe I would just be like full on like Vampirella.
Yeah. There
Just,
you go,
like,
man.
My boobs out and everything, man.
Well, how about Elvira?
Yeah, I was just about to
somebody
say
Elvira.
that.
Yeah,
I would
could
love
do
to be
something like
Elvira.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about $20 on the table right now?
Yeah.
$20? Shit, I'll do it for free.
Nice, PJ. I like that. You're turning
good.
me on
That
right
was
now.
good.
That sounds fun. Very good. So what about you, man? What would you do?
It's a tough one.
Some female characters. Anything. Video games, the whole shebang.
I have to. How about you go? I'll think of it.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna go. I don't care. I'm gonna go all horny in. I want to be Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I want tight
Ooh,
leather
that's a
on me.
good one.
I want a whip. Whatever. I'll
nice.
put lipstick on. I would be her, 100%. I would love to be Lilu, one of my favorite characters from The Fifth Element. That was Mila Djokovic's character.
Is she the one with the 3 boobs?
No, that's Total Recall.
That's Total Recall. You're right. That's right.
But Fifth Element's with Bruce Willis
That's right.
and Chris
I got the
Tucker,
movie,
and
yeah.
she's like orange hair,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I always like that. The movie's so funny. I think it's ahead of its time. It's timeless.
Yeah.
It's timeless. I just want to walk around going like multi-pass, like doing.
I might change my answer. I might go as the 3 boobs.
Oh, the 3 boobs girl from Total Recall.
Total Recall, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I had one more too. Oh, it just slipped my mind.
I thought I knew what you were going to say. and
Oh,
then
what
didn't
were you gonna
it.
say? Go.
I thought you were going to say Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I should because I love Roger.
great
But you know
That's
what?
what I thought you were gonna say
That's it. That's it. I think it would be Jessica Rabbit.
I'm giving them all the good answers.
Yeah. And maybe Harley Quinn, just because I just love her. I think I have almost the same personality as Harley Quinn to a certain degree, in terms of insanity. What about you, Simon? Did you conjure anything up, my man?
I mean, I like.
A little gender bender, okay?
Yeah. I don't know much about her, but Storm from X-Men.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh,
She
yeah.
looks classy.
Yeah.
I
I can picture you with like the long, like kind of drapes on the.
Have you pictured
hanging-
me before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have.
All right, so there you
It
go
helps
then.
him sleep at night.
So Storm, I would say. I don't know. I like the Jessica Rabbit one. That's a good one.
Yep,
Elvira is a great
Oh
one.
yeah, these awesome characters.
These are all. These are like iconic. These are the first ones that come to mind when you think about female characters
Yeah.
that you grew up.
All right, Simon, here's the question.
Okay.
Question of the day.
Okay.
All right. So you're minding your own business.
Uh-huh.
You get a little ringy dingy on your phone.
Okay.
It's a model who needs someone to take photos of them. And they're like, hey, I'm starting my own OnlyFans. I need you to take all the naked pictures of me that I want. Would you do it?
Yes, I have been asked that actually.
Have you?
Oh!
Yeah.
Have
I've
you
been asked
really?
that. I mean, I don't know how serious they were, but they have asked me to, and I said, yeah. I said, yeah, sure. I'll do as much as I can to help you out.
Yeah.
Now, I say that because, one, that's a funny question. But the other reason why I ask is because when I was in college, it wasn't photography, it was figure drawing. It's actually the same professor. It was Al Frano, the same professor I talked
Right.
about earlier today. And we had to draw nude models.
They had new models come in.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
And it was awful. It was awful. They don't, well, I mean, when you're in like school like that, they don't get you the attractive models. But they make you draw dudes. They
Wow.
make you draw all people of
Right.
all
They
shapes,
don't wanna
sizes,
sexualize
ages.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's like, one, like, I didn't want to look at a schlong
Right,
for
right,
that
right,
long
right.
to draw it,
Right.
especially because I'm not that great an artist.
Right.
But it's also, but even when it was like women of various
Right.
size, it was so awkward. So I'm like, I couldn't picture doing that like for a living. So that's honestly why I was asking. Like, if someone was like, hey, take nude pictures of me for my OnlyFans, would you be able to do it, or would it just be way too awkward?
No, I could do it without it being.
I guess
I
it's
think
the-
I've been in front of a camera. Like
Yeah.
I've shot enough women in
Okay.
lingerie,
Right,
you
right.
know, couple nude, that I've gotten more comfortable with
Right.
that. You know,
Okay.
I
If
think
you-
in the beginning,
Yeah.
I was probably much more awkward than they were.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but you get more
Oh
comfortable.
yeah, the
And-
models don't
and
have
you-
any shape. They just there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing is they're also very conscious of what you're putting out, right?
Right.
So
Right.
like you don't want to come off like this is the first time you're seeing a naked woman in front of you.
Right,
you know?
right.
Right,
So like
yeah.
eventually if the goal is the project, the content, the creativity. As long as your mind is on that,
Right.
you know, it kind of just flows pretty well.
Interesting.
I was gonna say, too. It's also what you know. You think about classic Playboy. You know what I mean? It's just really just nude photos that are just like they're on a bed with their hands behind their head, that kind of stuff. It's not like it's a porno scene that you're filming.
Right.
You know, these are women like they might be like in a bathtub, like drawing water or like eating a grape. You know what I mean? Like something like, you know, angelic or innocent or
Right,
something,
right.
like a pinup model from like,
Right.
you know, the 50s, like in
Yeah,
those
yeah.
calendars. You know, someone's if you do like X-rated, you know, her, you know, or guys, who knows? You know, it works both ways. But yeah, okay, cool, man. I love that. That's fantastic.
What if they want to do something filthy?
Right.
Could you do that?
Photo-wise?
Yeah. Like
Oh, okay.
filthy. Like if they're like taking filthy
I
picture
mean,
ever.
Listen, it's their content. It's
Right.
their page. It's whatever they need me to do. You know, there's really no judgment with that.
Yeah, no, no judgment. I
You know,
just-
it's an art.
yeah,
You know, it
yeah.
can be an art. It is. I mean, I think women are beautiful. Their bodies are beautiful. I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
you know, it's very hard to find critique in anything that they
Right.
do. That's you know, that's in front of the camera.
Yeah, I think it's funny because you think about, you know, stepping back for a second, it's like, what is taboo? You think of things that are taboo. You know, they say like talking about, you know, they talk about like they say salaries, right? It's taboo,
Yeah.
right? Politics, well,
Yeah.
maybe not so more now, but you know,
Religion.
religion, right?
Right.
And then sex, you know, and just nudity itself. It's crazy because when we're born in our birthday suits, you know what I mean, and you know, it's probably the most, you know, natural thing, really. You go
Yeah.
back to basics of Earthlings, you know, but
Hey, there's nothing more comfortable than not having pants on.
very nice.
Thank you for being uncomfortable with us today.
Yeah.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
welcome.
But fantastic stuff, fellas.
We're recording another episode after this. I can't tell you what's going to happen. on
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, mhm.
The lightings are probably gonna dim out a little bit.
Yeah. But Simon, it was great having you on. We really, you were fantastic, and you want to share some of your plugs for the folks at home. They can find you and follow you and reach you.
So my Instagram, which is where I post most of my stuff, is the @ SIMON V like Victor, EL like Larry, U like umbrella. So it's just really my full name as my Instagram. Facebook, I'm not really. I've actually posted photos on there, and people have stolen it, never given me credit for it. So I try to keep it on Instagram, where it takes a little more effort to get, you know, to
Right.
get pictures off your page. I used to have a website. I deleted it because it wasn't really getting a lot of traction.
Right.
So my focus mainly is my Instagram handle, which is
yeah.
my name.
Yep, photography by Simon. Fantastic. PJ, anything else before we cut loose?
I got nothing. I think the bell's about to ring.
Yes, it is. And guys, we'll see you same time, same table.
Have a good one, kids. Make good choices.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. Please visit PJ and Mike's website, coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com for more information. Follow the boys on all social media apps. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.